I'm recording, if I'm not mistaken. This is my new device, and I was told that I didn't read the Tibetan of the last session. I think it was stanza number 13 and 14. Kalte dendam nyangindi korwa kunzu tetana sonjin chonan kormchirwi shunchu shupi chihisha jenam junne machena jemang tu par manjurche jenam junne chepana kunzu tuyo manjongos. I think that was it. Now we come to questions and kind of debate about the ultimate truth. So here there are two things. So first is, if the mind that is deluded, that mind, it has to be there ultimately, and if it is not there, then there is nothing to be. There's no possibility of samsara and also nirvana. So therefore, when there is nothing that would be deluded in its reality, in its ultimate nature, then there can't be any delusion, and therefore there can't be any samsara. So in order to this, actually basically it's the Chitta Matra people kind of ask this question, and it says, this is stanza number so this is the second part of the stanza number 15, I think. If even that which is deceived does not exist, what is it, you will ask, that sees illusion? So if there is, there is no mind that is deceived, or is, unclear, or, cannot see clearly, or cannot have, the right understanding. If that does not exist at all, that is also an illusion. Then what is it, you will ask, that sees illusion? What is it that sees the illusion? There should be nothing that would see the illusion. So therefore, there can't be even samsara. I will go through the Tibetan first. Gongze Chawang Yu Manna Yama Kongi Me Parch. So the the mind that is deluded, if that's not there, then what or who will see the delusion? So there is nothing to be deluded. So now the answer to that, then the first, it's like what they call, similar asking a question. This is that. So it's the same thing. But if for you these same illusions have no being, what indeed is there to be perceived? Now, you also, the Citta-matra people, you also believe that all these material things, or all the other objects are just like illusion. So if there's nothing there to see, or there's nothing there in ultimate nature to experience, or to see, or to observe, or to perceive, then even if there is something called mind existing on its own, that wouldn't help, because there's nothing to perceive. So you would not perceive anything. Now, I think we have to understand this. The main question, at least for the Citta, at least for the Madhyamika, it's not about whether there is something from that point of view, from the Madhyamika point of view. Both the object of perception and the mind that perceives are like illusion, are relatively true. Ultimately, they are not, they're just relative thing, true. Ultimately, it doesn't exist independently. So this, I think, we have to keep in mind when we look at these questions. Otherwise, we would not understand. But objects have another mode of being, you will say. That very mode is but the mind itself. So this is what the Citta-matras say, that, although the object of perception, all the phenomena, is, is illusory, it doesn't exist ultimately, but there is something on which, or from which all these illusory things, illusorily appear, or reflect or radiate, and that's the mind. And that mind has to be there, has to be ultimately there. If they say that, that's what Kate tenye te yenyu nambatene senye. Kate tenye te yenyu. kate zoncha tenye to modenyo, so that the object appears that is not true, truly existing. Yenshi ngusa dembra yuna no number ten the same. You know. So what that appears to, or what that radiates from, is the mind, and that truly exists. Then it is possible to experience. Kongse senyu jima na teche kongyi konginto jiten chine gwenbi chung senji senme tongki sung rada son de rong la rong jeta me ju tekin ye jite. So then the 17th, stanza number 17. But if the mirage is the mind itself, what is then perceived by what? Then perceived by what? The guardian of the world himself has said that mind cannot be seen by mind. And this in Tibetan, I think in Tibetan, and also as in just the same way he has said, the sword's edge cannot cut the sword. So this the first two lines of the stanza number 18. Now, what it means to say is this: that if the what is observed and what is the object of observation, and then the subject of observation, subject and object is the same. Then what sees what? It should be same thing. And Buddha said also that the mind cannot see mind itself if the mind is truly existing on its own. As the sword, the edge of the sword cannot cut itself. If it really exists, then it cannot be able to see itself. It cannot, because it's itself. But then if, he says, if the Chitra Mami Rongi Yondo Sawa Shekinos, Mami Sawa Shamete Konshimebe Drabame. So this stanza says that, but you say it's like the flame that perfectly illuminates itself. He says that no, that's possible, because you can have a flame we can have a candle, and the candle dispels the darkness around it, so therefore it illuminates itself. So in the same way, the mind can observe, can actually experience its own radiations, like the object of the mind, although they do not exist truly, illusorily. Then the Madhyamikas say, or reply, the flame in fact can never light itself. And why? Because the darkness never dims it. Says that it's a wrong example, because actually the candle or the light lamp cannot illuminate itself, because candle itself or the light itself is light, so therefore there can't be any darkness. So what is there? It is not possible for the lamp or for the light actually to dispel darkness in a true way, in an ultimate way, because when there is light, there cannot be darkness. So therefore, how can light dispel